Well, hello there. I'm going to go over how I put together the button. So, for making the button, I'll zoom out a little bit here so we can get a feel for how big it is. It's a pretty good sized button. It's going to take up a fair amount of space right in here. Oh, looks like over half of the available space. I might actually, if I really felt like it and wanted to get motivated, I could move this. Make sure I've got the select object tool. I want to select all of my grill. Then I'm going to hold the Alt key and deselect the TV case just so I can move just the grill up. Move the grill up to about right there. And then I'm going to right click and I'm going to hide my selection. That gets the grill out of the way. Now I want to select the TV and I'd like to get edges here. And let me get off the move tool again. And I'm going to control key add to that. Let's see. It says I have 11 edges selected. Let's turn off ignore back facing. I'm not. I don't think it should be 11. Let me see here. 8. Yeah, should be 8 edges. So I got the W key, and what happened was I just picked up some edges on the back by doing the drawing the window selection. I picked up some edges on the back, so that's why I turned off ignore back facing. Now moving that up, I'm going to right click and I'm going to unhide all. And I'm going to get the move tool on this, switch to the front viewport and scroll back out a little bit. And since I've got those edges still selected, I could put one of those edges about right there. Yeah, back there. That is exactly where they need to be. They are lined up. All right. Switch back to perspective, move back a little bit. And yeah. All right, happy with that. Now, the button. Let's switch to the front viewport. Mouse out a little bit here. We're going to build it as a cylinder right here. So I will make sure I don't have anything selected. So I've got nothing selected in this scene. Hey, there's that teapot right there. I thought I threw that away. If you haven't thrown away the teapot, throw it away. Um, so let's see. We're going to create a camphor cylinder. That happens to be right next to a camphor box. The nice thing about camphor cylinders is camphor cylinders, like camphor boxes, they will come with round edges. And that'll be kind of nice. So I click once there and drag, and then click, and then there we go. That's setting the camphor, and then I'll click, and now the camphor's been set. I'm going to right click, switch to the modify tab, and I'm going to change this knob. It's going to be my knob, and it really, for all practical intents and purposes, is not in the best spot. There we go. But I'm getting it positioned better. Let me turn on the skins F3 so I can get a better feel for where the middle is. And now, this camphor cylinder's got way too few sides. Let's give it at least 36 sides. That's going to make it nice and round. You see how much cleaner the roundness is? Run the fillet segments up to 3, and then let me come down here to this edge here, and let me see what's going on here. Switch to perspective viewport. Poke it through. All right. So it does look like it has a pretty nice rounding to it. I'm going to push that closer to the edge, though. The curvature closer to the edge. And I think I will give it 5 fillet segments. All right. Now, this is going to be the base of our button. And all right. Let's put it back into the face of the TV. It's a little on the big side. I'm going to bring the radius down some. center it a little bit better. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with its current placement. All right. So now that I've got it basically in the right place, I've got it embedded into the face of the TV. I'm going to push it in a little bit further. I mean, you can see that it's raised. You can look at see it in the picture here. You can tell it's raised on the edge, and then it embeds right into it. But it's got a nice little rounded edge there. Okay, so we've created that. We've got this rounded outer edge here. So we haven't built this little fancy thingamabobby. We'll take care of that later in another video. So next, I want to change this camper cylinder into an editable poly. Okay, so to do that, you can right-click the camper cylinder and select editable poly. You can right-click it right here in the scene and go convert to editable poly. Either way, it gets turned into an editable poly. And now that it's an editable poly, I will turn on polygon selection, ignore backfacing, and remind myself that I'm supposed to turn off the move tool before I go selecting things. Did you see that? That was crazy. So now I've got all these polygons selected. I don't have any on the back of it selected because, in fact, for right now, let me right click, hide unselected. That makes the TV go away so I can see everything about the button, front, back, and the whole works. TV's temporarily hidden. Now, this is the object of our attention. We're going to build our button. So we first need to build this width right there in the yellow band. Easy way to do that is with the inset menu. The default, of course, is way too much, but playing with the settings here, I think that 0.2 probably going to be just fine. Maybe even 0.25 might very well be just fine of a centimeter. I'll click the green check mark. Now, next I want to create a very small little patch, very small little ring that I can darken so I can highlight this shadow, have this be able to kind of appear in the way it looks. So I will do the inset again, but this time I'm going to make it very small, like 0.05. It's a very small inset. That may even still be too small, maybe 0.02. Yeah, that's going to be just fine. You might be saying, but Mr. Booth, that's so small. Yes, it is. It is really small. That's okay. I want it to be small. This is very thin. Next, I have to build this part. And this part actually starts to raise up. It starts to rise up. You could see it sloping. There's a slope to this part of the button as it comes up to the knob up here. So to do this, I'm going to use the bevel. So I'm going to turn on the bevel menu and then crazy stuff happens. So just zero out all of the controls, turn yourself sideways so you can kind of get a feel for what it is you're going to be pulling out of here. And then let's start to slowly bring this up. There we go. Maybe like about that much, like 0.5. And then we want to bevel in. Now this part that bevels in is going to bevel in to where we're going to pull this little gold colored button out. So that looks pretty good. That's coming up. Now we're going to use the extrude. Again, the default of 10 is just crazy. You can make it if you like clean numbers, make it 1 centimeter. That'll be great. And with the 1 centimeter there, that's looking pretty good. Now I want to switch to edges and I want to click one edge and then double click it, and look at that. Nice, sweet. It just selected all of the edges all the way around. Watch me do that again. If you click one edge and then immediately double click it, you can get them all. One click, double. Oh, see, I wasn't fast enough. One click, up. Let's try a different edge. One click, double click. There we go. I got all the edges, 36 edges selected. I'm going to click on the camphor And of course, crazy stuff happens. So just um, zero out the tool. Let's see here. Camphor sides, at least 4. And there we go. I'm rounding the edge. That looks pretty good right there. So I rounded it about 0.28 centimeters, gave it five connect edge segments. The edge chamfer amount about 0.28 centimeters. Worked good for me. I'm happy with what that produced. Rounded the top of that button nicely. All right, cool. So this thing's coming together. Now I'm going to put these little tick marks in. These little tick marks are going to be a separate object. They're going to be boxes. So I need to get off edges here. So I have nothing selected inside my editable poly. I could have nothing selected, or I could select my editable poly. None of its little subparts are selected. This is going to let me go to the Create tab, where I'm now going to create. Let's go back to standard. Well, you know what? Let's stay right here. Let's make it a camphor box. That way it'll already come out. Whoa. Let's go to the front viewport and let's build this thing right. Okay. It's going to be about like that big. And like that. And then like that. All right. So I had clicked on it many times as I needed to. Let me find it here in perspective viewport and bring it up to, there we go. Now it is at a bit of an angle here. I'm going to turn off angle snaps and rotate it. Let's zoom in on it here. And let me see how that's looking. Look at the move tool. Look at the front viewport. I'm going to zero it out in X. I might not have wanted to do that. I understand what's going on here. Okay, I'm going to take the knob and I'm going to place it at 0, 0, 0. And I'm going to go get this piece, and I'm also going to place that piece at 0, 0, 0. Good. Now I'll bring the piece up. I'll go back to perspective and zoom in on this thing so I can see it here in perspective. Move it back out there. Should be looking at it from the front here. Indeed I am. Good. I'm going to change the move tool from view to local. That way, as I slide this thing, it will slide along the axis of the object. I'm just trying to get that as to follow the curve there. I want it to follow the curve. Now, remember, I built all this stuff. A lot of numbers are going to be zeros here, you know. For the camphor box here, the knob, its X, Y, and Z position are 0, 0, 0. This camphor cylinder, let me change its back to view. In the viewport, its X value is 0, and that makes sense. Its Y value is 0.23, and its Z value is 1.805, because we're moving it in 3 different axes. So in order to get it where we want it at. Now that we've got it there, the parent object, which would be the knob itself is centered at 0, 0, 0. And then I've got this piece up here, up at its coordinates. What I want to do is I want to move the pivot point for the little tick mark. And to do that, I will go over here onto this is a hierarchy tab. Okay. So far, we've been living on the Create tab and the Modify tab and this camphor box. Let's just call this mark 001. It's the first tick mark. And this is our knob's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's going to have 8 tick marks. That means we're going to be laying one of these down every 45 degrees. So over here on the hierarchy tab, on this tab, hierarchy, over here on the hierarchy tab, we're going to select effect pivot only. And then we're going to see that the pivot currently, we want to change its Z value to 1.805. I'm going to hit the minus button on that. Its X and Z values are 0. I'll leave its Y value right where it's at. That's fine. So then I'm going to turn off effect pivot only. And then I'm going to get the rotate tool. Now, notice something here now. When I rotate this object, and I want to turn angle snap back on, by the way. BTW, make sure angle snap is turned on. Angle snap toggle should be blue. I'll mouse over here on the green bar, get the green bar to turn yellow so I know that that's the one that I've got selected. I'll hold down my shift key so that I can make a copy. I'm going to make a clone. And I'm going to use the rotate tool. I'm going to rotate out to 45 degrees, exactly to 45 degrees. With that copy rotated to 45 degrees, I'm going to let go of everything. And I'll make these all instances. And I want to make 7 more copies. And then I'll click OK. So instance, 7 copies, click OK. And bam, they all just got made. All of the tick marks. Let's go ahead and tick marks. Create a tick mark selection set. Will let me be able to select those easily and differentiate between the knob. With the knob, we're going to need to create some selection sets with the knob. So I'll switch back to its editable poly, get on polygon, and Alex, the good news right now is, the end of the knob is selected. I'm going to turn off any movement tools, get myself kind of sideways here and press my control key and try to pick up all the rest of those polygons. And let's see. Ooh, I've got ignore back facing on, so I didn't get the ones in the back. Hold the control key down and try one more time. Let's see. I think I got them all. I got all of these at the very end. So I'm going to create a selection set here for these polygons. We'll call this the gold knob. All right. Now, because it's going to be some work, I'm going to now painstakingly, and I'm just pressing the control key and clicking each of these. Pressing the middle mouse button to move, press my control key, and clicking to select these. Trying to be careful. Middle mouse button. I released my control key, by the way. Press my control key and start selecting again. Get what I can. Release the control key. Middle mouse button. Maybe will out a little bit here. Press the control key. Continue selecting. If you accidentally select one you didn't want, remember you press the Alt key and that will deselect. Making my way around. See, I got one just because I'm busy singing to myself here. Oops. That middle mouse wheel. Alt, go away. Let me tell it to ignore back facing. And I'm going to check the back when I'm done here. There might have been a crazier, easier way to do this, but let's see. I got 36 polygons selected, and that's what I expect. And I'm going to call this one the dark ring. Dark ring. There we go. That's the dark ring. Okay. I've got the dark ring created. Next, I will create this part right here. So I want to avoid getting any of the dark ring or any of the gold knob. I just want to get these in this. Oh, see, that would have got me some that I didn't want. All right. Do I have 36 polygons selected? That's my magic number. This is the white area. Well, that white gloss. Why not? And we already did the painfully challenging. Okay, now this would be, yeah. So I believe that I'm going to just call this yellow all the way to the edge. So I want to turn off ignore back facing now, because I would like to pick up everything here. Now we'll take a look and see, did I miss anything in the back here? Now, these on the very back, I don't care about. And what I really care about is that I got the sides, all the sides all the way around. And then I want to make sure I did not get any of my inner, and it looks like I did a pretty good job on that. So I'm happy with that. I know it's a little uneven on the bottom. I mean, if you really want to get all those, you can go orient yourself like this, press the control key, you can sweep across, and you will have it all, every single bit of it from the bottom. All right, and this I'm going to call this yellow. All right, material editor up here. Stack my materials. What do I have here? Brown, gold. It is that same kind of yellowish gold. I'm going to go ahead and apply that to that part. And then I'm going to need to create, this is the checker map. I can collapse that, stack these. And let's create a new plot of new shellac. And the name will give this is white. Spell Robert. And then we'll go ahead and select something that looks pretty much like white. Let me get the selection set that we want. There's the white. Let's go ahead and apply it, and let's hit the render button and see what we got going here. Man, I can't complain. I can't complain. I have to feel pretty happy. Now the buttons themselves. The buttons themselves look like they have this very similar color to the face of the TV here. So let's see. I'll handle the buttons last. The knob. The knob is not quite the same yellow as like the grill and this, or right here and that. I think we're going to have to create another kind of gold. I'm going to pull in another shellac, and we'll try to make this metal. And let's see. In its ambient color, yeah, pick that. And then stack these right here and get the part I want, which is going to be the knob, gold knob. There we go. I'll feed the gold knob this material I just made. And I'll take a look at it and see how it's coming. Yeah, good. It does have it has a different look. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to have a different look. Yes, and it does. It's got a different look. Okay, cool. So that takes care of those parts. The one other part that I think, yep, the do I have? There is black physical. Well, that's the one we'll use. First, we'll get the selection set. The dark ring. That's the dark ring. And I'm going to feed it the black physical material, which that should have put it in there. And there we go. I can see that ring that goes all the way around. Cool. All right. So the last thing then would be the tick marks. So here we have to make sure we don't have anything selected in the editable poly of the knob. We're done painting its polygons. We had created those selection sets. So now we can go in the global world, tick marks lives. And so there they are. I got the tick marks, and we can get the material editor back up here. And I'm going to apply that brown shellac. Now, because I have a selection here, this menu will always pop up, because there's multiple objects selected, and I want it assigned to every single one of them. Thank you. Let me unhide all and bring the TV back. And then I just realized something. Hide. Nope, let's not worry about that. Let's just get the move tool and move tool. There we go. Into the face of the TV. Cool. And then down some here. There we go. And let's see. I've lost my reference image, but there it is. Looks pretty good. This might even be a little reddish. I could, if I wanted to, make it a red color. You could if you want to. But I'm pretty happy with how that's come together. I will, in another video, go over how I'm going to put this little feature in up here at the top. You'll have to learn about something called Boolean. Anyway, that's going to be it for now. Thanks.